All right, awesome. So as Kelly so graciously introduced me, my name is Maria Rose, and I'm the co-founder and executive director of the Means Database. We're a nonprofit, and Means stands for Matching Excess and Need for Stability. And you can check out the website at www.meansdatabase.org. Means is an online notifications platform for emergency food providers and their donors. So I'll walk you through a typical donation. This is something that actually happened on our website a couple of weeks ago. There was a food pantry in D.C. that had 450 pounds of green beans that were donated to them. And they already had plenty of green beans, but they also couldn't figure out where to take it. So they logged on to Means and they posted it. There were 73 organizations in D.C. that wanted that kind of food, that wanted shelf-stable vegetables. The 73 organizations got emails or text messages about those green beans. 6 organizations said, oh, I want that. The first one who clicked on it got the food pantry's location and contact information, and they picked up the green beans. The other 5 got a message that it had already been claimed, that somebody beat them to it, and it was no harm, no foul. They didn't have to waste time going and trying to get something that was already gone. When organizations post food to Means, we don't tell people where you are. We just tell you how far you are from where it is. So what we're trying to do is if you're a summer meal site, if you're a school district, if you're a food pantry, and you don't want 6 different agencies showing up at your door, they won't. Only the person who claims it first will get your address. Everybody else will only know about how far away they are from you. Means moves all kinds of food. This is just food that we've moved in the last week. About 300 milk cartons left over from a school district, catered lunch leftovers, a whole bunch of canned goods. This week was interesting. We had 79,000 pizza sauce packets, and they were all 1 ounce, and they were all in the same place in the small rural community, and we found a place to take them. So essentially, we move almost anything, and we've had success moving almost anything. And that's partially because we've been able to build a pretty strong network. This is a map of where we're at. And the way Means is built, I worked in emergency food for a very long time, and we wanted to make sure that when we sent you notifications or emails that it was really stuff that you needed. So we only email you if we have the kind of food that you've told us you need near you. So if you're in North Dakota and there's nobody around you, so there might not be food, that's okay. Everything that we do is absolutely free. You don't have to pay us for it. And if you sign up and there's no food near you, then nothing happens. It's like we're not there. And we'll kick into gear as soon as there is. Means is a really unique platform because you can use it both to donate excess food and get excess food from other agencies. About half of the food that we move is actually from other emergency food providers that have too much of something, that have been given food that they can't use. It's a two-way street, and you can drive on either side of the road. So here are some basic tips for using Means, and we're going to go through exactly how the site works and signing up for it in a minute. Tips for using Means. Have your tax ID ready. We're a 501c3 organization, and under Bill Emerson, which is the Food Donation Good Samaritan Act, I'm sure many of you are very familiar with it, we can't help connect food to places that are not 501c3 organizations, houses of worship, or sub-organizations of 501c3. So if you don't have a tax ID number, but you fall under one of those categories and you have a documentation or paperwork, that's okay. There's a place for you to upload it, so you'll be totally fine. If you can deliver the food, do it. We have never had food that somebody offered to deliver posted on Means that was unclaimed, ever. And it's been extraordinarily fast. This week we broke our record for the fastest amount of time food has moved on Means. It was 4.5 minutes. It was shelf-stable cans of soup, and it was only, I think, 50 cans of soup. But it was gone in 4.5 minutes because that donor was willing to deliver it. So if you can, do it. Most of our food, the donor doesn't offer to deliver or can't, and that's okay. Most of the time it still moves, but if you can offer to deliver, it's not a 100% guarantee, but incredibly likely that it will be gone. And finally, all local food safety rules and laws still apply. I know Jimmy's going to talk about this later, but just keep in reminder, everything that you use, every letter that you follow now, it's the same exact thing. So here's how the website works. Pretty simple. Here's how you receive donations via means. Here's the sign-up page. You can literally just go to www.meansdatabase.org or .com. We own them both. You type in your organization. If somebody in your organization has already signed up, you might already be there. If not, you click where it says Add Your Organization. It's really simple. It's really easy. After that, you have your own name, your email, and the best phone number to reach you at. And then you tell us how far you're willing to travel to pick up food. Just because you get a notification doesn't mean you have to take it. So we have agencies that say 50 miles and maybe only pick things up between 10. And that's okay. If you want to know where you're going, that's okay. Someone has asked to list the website again. It is www.meansdatabase.org or .com, either one. I'm going to type that actually in the chat box. One moment. Here we go. Okay, so everyone should be able to see that now. And you just click Join Means once you get to the website. Next, you tell us the kind of food that you're looking for. There's no limit to the number of categories you can check. We have agencies that check every single one. We have agencies that only check one of the boxes. That's okay. Whatever you want to be notified about, click the box. And this isn't set in stone either. It's pretty common for our agencies to go back in and change their settings. So this is what a notification email looks like from me. It will literally just say, here's what we've got. This is an actual donation that we had in Seattle. Here's what we've got. Do you want it? It's pretty simple. So here's a poll question.
Sorry, Maria. That was from an old poll.
Yes. I was like, oh, that was new. Okay. So if any of you have ever taken an Uber before, part of Means is built like Uber. If you've ever taken an Uber, it's kind of like a cab service, except you can call in from your phone. You rate your driver after the trip is done between 1 and 5 stars. It's a way to make sure that the driver is a good driver and they're polite and they get you there on time and all of that good stuff. For us, this double feedback system makes sure that if a donor says, hey, I have 500 pounds of fruit and they actually have 50, that's not fair. That's not fair to you guys at all. And what you can do is rate them low and say, that was wrong, that wasn't correct. On the reverse, if you're a donor and your recipient says, oh, I'm going to come at 3, and they show up at 5, that's really frustrating for you too. So this is a way for you to hold each other accountable. And over time, your rating actually impacts how quickly you get emails or text messages about what's available. So there's strong, strong incentive to just work together well. And it's a way to reward nonprofits and teams that work really hard and do really well in terms of picking things up and praise donors who are doing well. And it's a way to kind of correct not-so-great donor behavior, which I'm sure many of you have encountered. So here's the hypothetical other side of the road. Here's how to donate food from Means. So it's pretty simple. Title it. Give a detailed description of what it contains. This is a really long detailed description because it was a lot of stuff. Most detailed descriptions are maybe one line. It's pretty fast. Make sure the address is right. It's going to default to your account address, so if you haven't moved, then you're totally fine. You don't have to do anything. Then you select the food's expiration date. So the expiration date is when you want it gone by, when you want this notification to expire. So if you have to leave at 4, then set it at 3:30 or set it at 4. You pick the categories that your donation falls into. You can check as many as apply. And if it's possible or relevant, enter in a retail value. For you guys, that's less relevant. This is a feature that's more important for our retail donors, like our grocery stores and our restaurants. And estimate the weight. That's just helpful for us and for recipients to understand, am I looking at 20 pounds of something or 200 or 2,000, all of which should happen on means. That's just a way of helping everybody understand exactly how much food we're talking about. So once you posted it and somebody claims it, you'll get an email that says, hey, congratulations, someone has claimed it. The recipient should contact you. You shouldn't have to do anything if you're donating. But just in case, if something happens, you have all of their information just in case. And then it's the same exact process as it was before. It's the same 5-star rating system. So this is just a slide for our geeky folks like myself. We are built on something called Amazon Web Services, which is what powers Netflix. So if they can handle Netflix's web traffic, they can handle memes. And it's built in Ruby on Rails, which is what Twitter and Airbnb were originally built on. So it's really, really strong technology, and that means it's scaled really fast. We opened the website after lots of build time. We opened it in February of 2015, and we've now got users in 43 states and DC. So it scales really fast, it grows really fast, and it's allowed us to have the growth that we have. So there is a brief kind of overview of means and how to sign up. You can go to the website at www.memesdatabase.com, and I'm going to go ahead and let Jimmy and some of our experts chime in, and then we will answer questions. So thank you, and thank you for your patience on the phone issue.
Thanks, Maria Rose, for that great presentation. And I'm actually going to let Kelly Runzel from Feed the Children again talk about how Feed the Children is going to use means.
Thanks, Jimmy and Maria. So the next steps are, how do we as cohorts and summer feeding program providers utilize means? So here are some next steps for us and what Feed the Children will be doing as far as working with means. And this is really just a simple process, as you learned from Maria. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to enroll. As easy as that. And then we also have a number of sites and agency partners, as you learned earlier. So we are going to educate our sites about the means database. And the ways that we're going to do that is through newsletters and communications and webinars. And then it's also important that when we communicate to our different partners, we also include our business partners and food providers. So not only should our agencies who are providing the meals to the kids understand this, but if we have local partners, whether it's a grocery store or a manufacturer distribution center, we would like to have them enroll in means so everyone can take part in this type of resource. But the one thing that we want to know about educating our business partners, those who have excess food, is we need to ensure that the partners understand the FNS health and food safety guidelines. And I think that that's really important to kind of have that type of awareness so that we can ensure that all the food that's going through the means database is the most healthy and of greatest quality for our kids. And so we own a part in that process as well to make sure that they understand those guidelines. And so also, I didn't mention this, but another important aspect and step is to share your story. If you have success with means and you find that your impact is being increased, I think it's important that we all share our story. We at Feed the Children believe that in order to really solve this problem of childhood hunger, we need to collaborate together and innovate together. So the more that we can work together and share our story, the better we all will be. So I think that that's a very important aspect as well. So Jimmy, let's go ahead and I'll turn it back over to you so we can look at the questions and answers. I saw some good questions coming up throughout the course of the talk.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelly. So we have ample time to get your questions answered. And if you have any comments, then please type them in there and I can read them out to you. We also have on the phone Tamika Munn. She is our resident subject matter expert when it comes to policy in our child nutrition program. So you can ask any policy-related question for any of our child nutrition programs. And it looks like we do have one. And Tamika, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, so let's get this question first from Catherine Schwader. It is, can donated foods also be used in the CACFP at-risk after-school program?
Yes, you can use donated foods.
And all of the guidance that I showed in my presentation, it applies to all child nutrition programs. So that goes for the school meals program, after-school feeding, summer meals program. So we have the same stance for all those programs. A couple questions come from.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add, just like summer, though, that would be subject to any state and local health and safety regulations.
Thank you, Mika. Okay, so our next question is from Shade Suleiman. And the question, I guess this is for Maria Rose, is can we sign up as a donator of food without being a 501c3?
Yes, and I'm going to see if I can sweep through a lot of these questions at once. So yes, you can sign up as a donor without being a 501c3.
Okay.
How
do?
Sorry,
go ahead.
Do you want me to? I think I can answer like 6 of these in one sentence.
Okay, can you read the question first, though?
Yes.
Okay.
So it means in all states. We are in 43 and DC. And like I said earlier, if you're the first one in your state, you are welcome to join. And what will happen if you're the first one in your state is you might not get email notifications for a little bit. But when you do, it's nice and easy. There is no fee associated with means. That was also a question. Yes, so one of the questions, can school districts apply for means? Yes, they can. Do we provide a tax receipt for donors? Yes, we do. Will the means donor give a donation sheet with estimated cost of donation to the pickup sponsor? So we find out, Christine Marino, I believe, if you could expand on that question. I'm not quite sure I follow.
And Maria, do you mind if I answer that? I think I know what Christina is talking about. So as nonprofits, you have to register what type of in-kind donations you receive. So what she's asking is, will the nonprofit receive the estimated fair market value or the amount, the cost of the donation that they're picking up so that they can register that nonprofit? So that I believe that that's what she's asking. If not, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's what she's referring to.
Okay. I just got a message from her that we answered the question, so I think we are good.
Awesome.
Okay, and also on the school, the question about if school districts can participate in the means database, obviously Maria Rose said yes, and next week I'd like to plug, we have a webinar May 4th at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, about how schools can use the means database. So if you want to tune into that, feel free to do that as well. I'll send you the information in the follow-up email that we'll send to all participants today, including the links to the recorded webinar that you viewed today so you can view it again, and also all of the PowerPoint presentations that you saw today. And I think Lindsay Wall had another question for you, Maria Rose. Have you considered adding kosher and halal to the list of characteristics of foods people can check when they're donating?
We haven't, but that's a really good idea. That's a great idea. And so Means was built with the input of dozens and hundreds of emergency food providers. And because we are a nonprofit tech startup, we can do things like add categories without a lot of effort. So I'm actually going to message our devs now, our developers, and tell them that we should do that. So thank you very much for that idea.
Awesome. So this has turned into a mini brainstorming session, which is great. I don't know if this was answered. I was a little distracted earlier, but there's a question about if a food bank signs up with Means, are there restrictions on how the donated product is distributed, i.e. location of receiving agency, adding shared maintenance fees? Maybe, Kelly, you could also shed light on that, since Feed the Children serves as a food bank as well.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and start with our perspective and then turn it over to Maria. What we use as a general guideline is that they're going to vetted ill, needy, or youth. So we don't charge any membership fees associated with our donations. So that is not a consideration that we have to face. But one of the things that we do require our agency partners to do is, if they are going to redistribute their food, that it is going to ill, needy, or youth. And the reason being is that we maintain our tax compliance with that. And then, Maria, do you have any other notes to add?
I think you've pretty much covered it.
Excellent. And Shadea, we apologize because we didn't get your first question answered. How do you get wholesalers to allow summer meal sponsors access to their discarded produce, or soon-to-be discarded produce? I guess the question is, are wholesalers donators in your Means database?
Yes. Yes, and that's a process we're working on expanding and making that a more common presence on Means. But you are correct in that it's a slow process, and making sure that everyone's food safety concerns are met.
Okay, it looks like please, if you have any more questions, feel free to type it in right now. If not, okay. So Sade said that she collects the food waste by myself. So there's another approach, is if you want to just start a relationship with your wholesaler or local store to get their excess produce, and a lot of people probably do it that way. But with the Means database, now everyone can be connected, but a lot of relationships are made on a one-on-one basis, organization to organization. So are there any last thoughts that you want to add, Maria Rose or Kelly Runzel?
No, thank you very much. If you have any questions at all, I'm going to put my email in the general chat box so everybody can see it. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me. Here. Oh, and I see we have another question. How do nonprofits find out about Means? We make a lot of phone calls, and we do some online marketing, and we've got some good press pieces. So we've slowly but surely, we've been working our way around the country to contact nonprofits.
Excellent. Maria Rose, would you mind taking a few minutes to share how the Means database got started? What was the inspiration for it?
Sure. So I worked in the food pantry at my church for a very long time, decade and a half. And apologies. We had another church in our community decide to give us 10,000 boxes of macaroni and cheese, which was very generous. It was so, so generous. But they didn't ask us if we needed it or could use it. So what ended up happening was we tried and we failed to get this macaroni and cheese to our neighboring agencies. And we called them and we played phone tag. And our director took some of it with her on her family's road trip to Michigan and from Iowa. So it literally crossed several state lines because it was so hard for us to communicate with our agencies that were the next county over. And we ended up actually throwing away some of that macaroni and cheese because we just couldn't communicate. And I remember thinking, why aren't we doing better than this? We have to do better than this. This isn't okay. So I have the very stereotypical entrepreneur's thoughts. There's got to be a better way to do this. There is. That's what Means is. And we've gone from there. So Means came from lots of on-the-ground experience of myself and now our staffers in emergency food, in summer meals, in homeless shelters, in school districts, trying to make the jobs of the people that we volunteer with a little bit easier.
Sharing that, Maria Rose. And I think you're on your way to doing some more great things. And I think there are no more questions. So I'd like to just thank everyone for their interest in today's webinar and coming and spending some time with us to learn about what Feed the Children and the Means database are doing to reduce food waste and improve nutrition in summer meals. I'd like to thank our presenters, Kelly Runzel from Feed the Children and Maria Rose Belding from the Means database, and also Tamika Munn, my colleague here at the USDA Food and Nutrition Service. So that will conclude our webinar. Look out for a follow-up email from me with more goodies from this webinar. And take care and have a great summer.